Apple released the iPhone 16 series, and I do have here the iPhone 16 Pro Max running iOS 18. On the left, we have the Galaxy S24 Ultra running the latest One UI 6.1, which actually says .1.1, but if you want to get all the details in the full story, go watch these videos here. Now guys, in this video, I'm going to do standard things. I'm going to open applications, close applications, navigate through the UI. Why? Well, yeah, you might have seen from the title of the video, I want to check the level of animation fluidity. Why? Well, that's important for me. And if that's important for you, yeah, please watch together. If you don't like this, you might want to watch some of this other content that I'm doing. But if you want to understand how those phones compare in this domain and how smooth they are, well, please watch this video together with me. We're gonna be starting with the always on display on both phones, and yes, both phones are able to showcase the wallpaper on the lock screen and also on the always on display. It doesn't work on the S23 Ultra, don't ask me why. I do believe it's because of the LTPO display technology used in the S24 Ultra. It might as well be Samsung just gatekeeping some extras, like you're also not able to change your lenses when you use 4K 60 on the S23 Ultra with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and I do believe that the hardware is capable, but okay. Who am I to say this? So, gonna wait a while, and then the animation from the lock screen to the always on display beautifully on both phones. And this here is the main screen. And now with iOS 18, you are also able to do certain things, like for example, you don't like this icon here, well, you can just put it somewhere else. I know, that's little, alright, but okay, things like this, they're not so little on iOS, and apparently now iOS 18 is getting a bit more like Android, but I'm probably gonna do a whole lot of video on this. What happens when we scroll here? It's the control center. Now, if you have been using Xiaomi and MIUI and HyperOS, you might recognize this. In iOS 18, this seems to be redesigned. Honestly, I do prefer this one better on the S24 Ultra. Now, let me just go to the flight mode, see what happens, check the animations. I think beautiful animation on both phones. All right, when I just go back, you see here we have these details. Boom. Things like this are really so cool on the iOS. Check here, guys. Boom. Now we have the airplane, and now boom, the airplane is gone. What happens if we do this on the S24 Ultra? We do have an airplane just appearing here, but I have to agree, this is not really so fancy. And there are other things like this. For example, if I am to hit the torch, right, you know how it works now on the iPhone. I mean, it's just really this level of detail. It's just insane in iOS. And also, see, a lot of people do hate the dynamic island, but the thing is, yeah, if you have an iPhone and you have a Pro iPhone and you have a dynamic island, I think now everybody will anyway get it with the iPhone 16. You pretty much get used to this, because a lot of these things, right, they kind of make sense. And this is why I really say that iOS is just the king of smoothness, right? They don't have really the fastest and the quickest animations, but things like this, I do believe they can really make a fundamental change in the way you experience your device. And this is why I wanted to showcase this, guys, because I'm not even sure if this is a thing with a lot of the guys, but you can just see like all the nitty-gritty details. Like for example, when I'm pressing the focus icon, we do have here the focus icon appearing beautifully, just putting the clock icon to the left. If we do the same here, right, on the Galaxy, see, it's a bit more static, all right? So with the do not disturb, nothing like this happen. And overall, iOS just has tweaks like this. I'm not saying it is better, I'm saying it's different, and I really like how smooth it is, and really these nitty-gritty details. Like for example, we have here an indication, a note. You can click the note, you can go to your music, and you can just see the level of smoothness is just insane, all right? Some people say that the iPhone stutter whatsoever, but I do believe that even with this stutter, you know, like they're so quick, it's just really amazing. This here will give me the recent menu. On the iPhone is like this. And by the way, let me do this simultaneously, right? See just like how slow the iPhone animations are. You know, like the iPhone animations, they are not really in a hurry. You know, they don't have any fast business to do. They're so smooth, like just take a look, boom, you know, like slow and smooth. Here, boop, it's a bit faster, and I do believe that sometimes because of this thing being fast, we do end up with stutters, and we all know this because there are some people tweaking developers options. You can play with the window animation scale, with the transition animation scale, and then eventually, guys, some people say that if they use 1.5, they might end up having like the very same smooth animation. See, right now I'm using 1.5. See, 1.5. Very similar, guys. One more time, all right? And I do believe that this might be also the key to experience something like iOS. Now, of course, if you ask me, I like them quick and fast, right? So This is me, but if you want to get this kind of smoothness, like not being in a hurry for something, you might go for this. Now let's go back on the home screen. One swipe will bring me back, and what I do like is here, this element, it just pops in and out one more time. See, whoop. It's a bit more static again. Like iOS feels so dynamic. A lot of these elements, they just pan from the right or the left or from top or from the bottom, and on the S24 Ultra it's a bit more static, more fast. Now guys, let's just go directly to the volume. Let me show you something. This is the slider here. Okay, one more subtle thing, pay attention. Okay, when I start the volume rocker, you know, this is starting the animation, boom, going out. Here again, more static, boom, it's there, going out. All right, and now pay attention to the UI. Starting it, and I'm gonna try to manipulate it, and this is so cool. The moment I try to manipulate it, it will just become from fat to thin. So imagine you're watching a YouTube video, you want to play with the sound, boom, you know, it's gonna get thin to not really obstruct your viewing space. Here, yeah, you know, it's like this, but of course here we have other goodies, we have a lot of things, and on the iPhone, you know, if you click here, yeah, it's just what you get. So again, it's really a lot of extras versus some extras. It's really smoothness versus speed, and etc. And I'm not saying that this is better or this is better. I'm just saying it's different. Honestly, I would prefer this type of animations. I really want them quick, but I also really like how smooth this thing is, like feels like butter. And I do know that a lot of people are saying, hey, right now this is not even a real 120, it's 80 or 90, but I don't really care as long as it's really smooth. Okay, so now let's go and show you the notifications. All right, notifications, they'll fall from here. By the way, beautiful blur, guys. All right, beautiful blur on both phones, and you can see how this curtain falls. I do like, again, this implementation better, but that's just me, because it applies the blur on the whole background. And here on the iOS, guys, see, this thing is something that I don't really like. It really looks nice, but also incomplete. You are just applying the blur with the curtain. At the moment you start pulling this curtain, guys, you can see that also the wallpaper zooms in. I think that's cool. See here, whoop, whoop. All right, but what I don't like is this part here. And on the S24 Ultra, the moment you start doing this, it feels more uniform, like one thing. And then of course the blur is applied in real time. Now guys, let me just show you what you can do with the notifications. Swipe left, right, it's the same thing almost everywhere. And if I go back to my home screen and I go to the very left, I'm gonna get Google Now. Here on the iOS, you're getting this, right? And there is the other thing, guys. If you go to the very far right, you're gonna get the app library. There is something that is very, very cool in the app library, and let me show you what it is. So the moment I start to pull those folders beneath here, the app library, you are getting this insane 3D depth effect. See here, guys, and this is really so good. Some people might say it's a gimmick. I don't think it's a gimmick. I think it's a subjective tasting. You might like it or you might not like it. You might hate it. It's your thing. I really love it. I kind of like it. It gives me really space and dimension, and it feels really 3D. So again, it's really a subjective thing. It's a personal taste. I really like the implementation. But now guys, let's go to the main thing on the home screen and open a folder. All right. Again, we have nice blur in real time in iOS and also in One UI. I do love it. And this time, guys, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open Telegram. All right. Jesus, not even set up on my iPhone. All right. Now, something, guys, when you open an application on the iOS and you go outside, you go back to the folder. And this happens on the Samsung too. If I do like this, I'm gonna go back to the folder. But if I wanna like hard exit, I can go to the home screen. There might be an option in iOS too, but then again, you return to the folder and then to the home screen. Let me show you guys the settings menu. All right, the iPhone is dancing a bit more, but overall it kind of feels the same. And then again, we go back to the main screen. What I also like is the moment you exit an application, we have this zoom in and out effect on the wallpaper in One UI. And when we do the same with Telegram, yeah, you kind of like miss out on the effect because you go back to the folder. Now guys, let's open the camera. Okay, if you open the camera, I want to show you like the interfaces. So let me just go to photo. I'm just gonna select the front camera. Okay, so the navigation here and the animations are like that. And I do believe they're very much equalized. All right, so let's click on the video, you see. Even I do believe that sometimes just switching between the modes a tiny bit quicker on the Samsung. And then of course you have settings here, right? And you have all the settings here, it's a bit different. And then you can go outside. One last thing, guys, in this test, let me start the game. I did a heavy performance test a while ago, I think 2 days ago. And I want to show you, this is really crazy. While I'm inside the game, boom, take a look at how I'm going outside. And see, all right, one more time. Okay, outside. Both phones seems to kind of nail its animation, but the iPhone is really so flawless in things like this. It's absolutely amazing. It really feels like you open egg. Even things like this will sometimes get One UI to stutter, but the iPhone is really so nice when you open apps like this. Okay, exit. Let me just try to exit. See, this time it's absolutely flawless. Let's test also YouTube. So right now I'm inside the picture-in-picture. I can click here and just go back to the full video. All right, and this is kind of the animation. One UI 6.1.1 being so powerful will give you a button here and you can open any other app, and of course you have this thing, you can switch them around. Like, I mean, these things will probably not come so soon in iOS, hopefully one day. I really hope that the more and more iOS is becoming Android, the more and more features like this, will end up, and features like this, right? And features like this that really don't exist here in the iPhone. But I do believe that in terms of animations, yeah, honestly, both are now doing a very good job. This here is still better in terms of how smooth it is. This here is quicker, right? Sometimes there are the micro stutters, the micro lags, but overall, I don't think that the gap is so big, and I really would love to hear your opinion. So overall, iOS is becoming more like Android, and One UI 6.1.1 is just becoming more and more fluid. So with One UI 7 and iOS 18, I really hope that we're gonna be able to bridge some gaps that do exist between these phones in terms of fluidity, smoothness, and execution of the interface. Guys, let me know what you think down below, and thank you so much for watching. VST over and bye.